All right, guys, it's Booker with my chameleon friend, Halsey. How are you?
I'm great.
I was looking at the pictures of every time that I've interviewed you, and there's no possible way that you'd know that they were the same person.
Yeah, that's my trick.
It really is.
You know Mystique from X-Men?
Yeah.
That's me.
That's you.
Shape-shifting.
Yep, 100%.
The conspiracy theorists are going to have a field day with that one.
How you been?
Really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, really busy, but really good.
Let's catch up. I was thinking about you just the other day.
You were?
Yeah, and I was thinking about your career and this, well, without you particularly. And, you know, you have the song that you rushed in right after whatever you went through, break up, back together, I don't know what that was. But
totally.
You came in and all this emotion, you poured it out into a song.
Yeah.
It's the biggest song, one of the biggest songs of the year.
Yeah.
Maybe a song that you may never have anything as big as that. I mean, it's a gigantic song.
Yeah.
All because of a breakup. It's like you're rewarded with money and fame and a song that sticks around forever because of it. When I get broken up with, I'm in sweatpants for like 3 weeks.
You think it's a reward, but on the flip side, I also get to sing about my breakup for the rest of my life now.
Solid point.
You didn't think about that
you
one,
almost
did
have to
you?
relive it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's good. I love Without Me. It's like, you know, songs are really special and they evolve as you do, you know? So it's like, I always tell people with Without Me, when I first put the song out, I was sad. Then I was angry. Then I was apathetic. Then I was nostalgic. And now I just kind of feel like I have like a weight off my chest when I sing it. Like I never get sick of doing it, and I'm still performing it, still doing like award shows and stuff like that. You know, 9-10 months later after it's released. Like for a song to have that kind of longevity is like it's exciting for me, but it also makes me like look at my listeners and I'm like, are y'all good? Is everyone okay? You guys are really listening to this song a lot. Do you need someone to talk to? You know.
Well, we talked about the magic of that song. It was so simple and it's so poignant that you just. Maybe it was because it was such a raw emotion and it was so of that moment and you put it right out and it wasn't an album, it wasn't a song, it just kind of lived on its own and boy, what a life it's had.
Yeah, it's been spectacular, but it's only just kind of made me more excited for the stuff I'm writing right now and, you know, just to kind of continue my story, my part of the narrative.
Your career is so cool to me that in the fact that...
It's cool to me, too.
Oh, good. God bless. It's so cool that you haven't been stuffed into any sort of box. Or if there's one that seems to be near you, boy, you are kicking and punching your way right out of it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I've tended to be a bit of a rebellious person in my life. I don't like being defined by someone else's expectation or idea of me. I'm super, super adamant about, you know, being someone who grows and who evolves. And I believe in being held accountable, but I don't believe in being held prisoner to, like, you know, any kind of idea that I once had or identity that I once had. And I think that from the jump, I've always had my fans really expecting me to change all the time. You know, when I first started out, there was a couple people in the industry who were a bit like skeptical because I was so flighty and changing and, like you said, a chameleon. And they were like, this isn't going to work. Like, people aren't going to get to know you. Like, you need to have a recognizable, like, a brand, like something that's familiar. And I was like, well, why can't my brand be that I'm always different? You know? And they were like, that's not going to happen. Well, it is happening, and that's why I'm here getting to do it. But I can't do it without fans that are, like, forgiving and gentle and open-minded and supportive, and that's what they are, and that's why I get to do it.
My initial, I don't know, meeting Halsey and seeing you, I was like, rocker girl, kind of, that's her vibe. And then all of a sudden, wow, pop girl. Wait a minute, is she into hip hop? She's into K-pop. Do you sense that, like Without You, that song is it's a pop hit. It's just a hit. It's huge. Do you sense the box coming near you? Do you say, hey, I want to go play some rock records now? Or is it just whatever just happens to come next?
I think that, you know, as like my fan base starts to grow and I'm meeting new people who haven't been with me from the start, I realize, like, you know, the power that what I'm doing in the present has. I think, you know, this Nightmare, the new song is. I'm sorry, I'm jumping right into it.
I was trying to figure out how I was going to get you there, so thank you.
Nightmare is it's definitely more rock leaning. It's more angry, and for me, one of the things is like I've had the privilege of having a lot of radio hits the past couple years, and a lot of them have been the more like glittery, emotional, relatable kind of songs of mine. And I've made a lot of fans from the radio because of that. But what a lot of them might not know, if you just listen to my music casually, is that I have albums full of angry, dark, aggressive, weird music that supplements those songs that end up being played on the radio. So I had people coming to my shows, who were like, no, God, I love Halsey, she's so cute. And then I come out in a ski mask and fishnets, and I'm like stage diving,
with
and
a
they're like,
flamethrower.
yeah, and they're like, this is not what I signed up for. So, I think for me it was about taking my live fan base, because I've built the majority of my career pre-radio Halsey,
sure,
off of touring. I've had an incredible touring fan base and touring audience, like from the jump. Like, I think I went 3 years from my first headline show without having a show that didn't sell out. And then we played Madison Square Garden on my first album. And, having that accomplishment, having one of my first big accomplishments being selling out MSG, album 1, no radio play, it just really made me value the live experience. And, when it comes to a song like Nightmare, I get to go on stage every night, and I see these girls in my pit, right? And they're sweaty, and they're angry, and they're pushing and punching, and they have lightning in their eyes, and they're looking up at me like they could just, rip someone's head off. And I see that, and I'm like, whoa, that's powerful. And they're obviously not moshing to Closer. So, there's something else in here. There's something else in the music that I just really wanted to put on the forefront and kind of say to everyone, I do this too. This is part of me too. And, from day one, I've always had a little bit of bite. There's been a little bit of teeth in everything that I do. And, in a post-without me world, as we're discussing it, I was really happy to be so vulnerable in that record. And it was really important for me to be vulnerable, but I'm excited to be tough again.
Okay. I've only seen the Nightmare video once. It's not out, so I almost had to sneak it, if you know what I'm saying. And you used the adjective, you said angry. I kind of felt that it was empowering. Yeah. It's a video full of women. It's all women. I don't know should I blow? They're going to find out anyhow, right? Debbie Harry's in the video. I didn't feel anger, so talk about that for a second. I think it's justified anger. I think it's vindicated anger. I think that, the reason why I chose an all-female cast, mostly female crew, female director, editor, commissioner, production designer, like everything. That's why I wasn't allowed to watch it, because I'm a man. Exactly. There's actually I had to be the last to be able to watch the video. There's actually a link on YouTube where you can't access the video. Despite being a female empowerment record, blah 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 blah, it is a song for everybody. Like a lot, the men in my life really love the record too, because I think everyone can kind of relate to the passion behind it. But the thing is I think a lot of artists lose their fans when they not lose their fans physically lose them, but lose them on the wavelength when they're third album in, and you write about what you know, and now you're a famous person, and your experience is so different from that of what your fans is. So you start out I'm just a small town girl looking for myself in this crazy world, and your fans are cool, I can relate to that. And then you're oh, I'm just a girl going through a heartbreaking breakup. You're a Journey song. Yeah, and they're oh, I can relate to all that. And then, along the lines, sometimes artists can make the mistake of putting out the song that's I'm so famous, nobody look at me, my life is so hard, everyone wants something from me, I don't know, and the fans are cool, I can't relate to that anymore. Yeah. And that's not
the fans don't want that.
I always say that it's not totally fair to the artist when it happens to that artist too, because sometimes you get thrust into the stratosphere of a world that you didn't necessarily sign up for. You signed up to be a musician, then all of a sudden the world's looking at you differently. And,
it's true.
And every single angle that you make is seemingly plotted out by that artist, and they're like, I'm just trying to be a person in the mix of this. Yeah. So I think that can also be rough for a lot of artists as well. But you seem to be able to kind of check yourself, or maybe that's the wrong. I didn't mean that to sound condescending. But
I think it's about applying my experience to everyone else's. You know, it's like, for example, Nightmare is like the "come on, little lady, give us a smile. I don't owe you anything," you know, kind of thing. It doesn't matter if you're a 12-year-old girl walking home from school in her school uniform, or an 18-year-old girl who's working at a Forever 21, or a 24-year-old, you know, musician on a red carpet, or a 40-year-old politician running for office. Whoever you are, if you're a woman, at some point in your life, you've experienced a guy saying to you, "Hey, come on, give us a smile." I'm from New York, so I experienced it 1,000 billion times because it's like part of the culture there,
Construction guys, it totally is. It's weird.
Yeah, cat calling, like, "Come on, why don't you smile? Come on, you'd look so much nicer if you'd smile. You got such a pretty face, smile." And you get this, like, I'm on a red carpet and there's 50 cameras. "Halsey, smile, give us a smile, smile." I don't want to. I don't feel like smiling. I don't owe you anything.
Right.
But then there's the flip side, which is that if you don't smile and you're not complacent and nice and friendly and agreeable, then the narrative becomes, "God, that girl's such a nightmare. Wow, she's a real nightmare. What a nightmare."
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm experiencing as a famous person. You know what I mean?
It's okay. We're not on the air.
Sorry. You know, air quotes. But it's something all my fans can relate to. So I can still write about what I'm going through, but in a way that everyone can relate to and understand. And that's kind of how I've, like, you know, hacked the system with that.
Being younger, I mean, you're leading a charge for young ladies, and I think it's great. And, you know, being an old fart like I am, you know, if you look at the rooms were split up. It's 50-50. And I think it's going to be cool when the world starts to move that direction. I think you know, even as an old fart, looking at the older farts and what they've done with the world, you're looking for a woman's touch. So let's talk about that a little bit. Yeah. Where are you in all of this? Because you do have a lot of young girls that are really looking up to you. And,
I think ultimately, you know, I've learned so much the past couple years about widening my perspective and listening to women, you know, because I start out with my experience and I'm like, I want to be able to wear whatever I want, and like, how come everybody's mad at me because of who I'm dating, and everyone should just shut up and not have an opinion? And then I'm in my 20s, you know what I mean? And I'm dealing with reproductive health. And I'm like, okay, well, I should be able to control what happens to my body, and I should have access to safe birth control and safe reproductive health measures. And then I'm a little bit older, and I go, you know, and I travel the world, and I'm meeting with Muslim fans. I'm meeting with fans in Korea, in Tokyo, in Argentina, in Brazil, in places where they're having their own experiences with feminism and their own revolutions of what it means to be a woman in society. And so it's just kind of really broadened my perspective. And it's made me realize, A, how nuanced this battle is, that it's not a monolith. It's like, it's different for everybody. So ultimately, my goal is not to tell my fans, you should do everything that I do. You should vote for who I vote for because I'm voting for them. You should think the way that I think because I'm thinking it. You should dress the way that I dress because I dress like it. My end goal is you should vote because you should vote. You should think because you should think. And you should dress how you want because you want to. So I hope that if they emulate or replicate anything that I do, it's my willingness to be true to myself. So if you do something that, if your beliefs aren't the same as mine, that's fine.
There's no respect if there is, though. You know what I mean? Because of the online culture.
Of course.
It's burn it all down and, you know,
but I mean, if
death to everyone. It's just so unfair.
I just think I think for me, my main objective is if your beliefs aren't the same as mine, that's fine, but have beliefs to begin with. Just stand for something. Just stand up for something. Like, whenever I'm talking to my fans about, you know, issues as far as politics, it's less like, this is what you should think. And it's more, here's the information. Now educate yourself and form your own opinion, but have an opinion.
Right.
At least know what's going on. And, you know, that's been the way that I think I've navigated, hopefully empowering my fans, but doing so in a way that feels responsible. Because, you know, as a musician, you are asked to speak on a number of topics, but at the end of the day, I'm not a doctor. So people are asking me for advice about birth control and about, you know, whatever else.
Mental illness even.
Yeah,
and you can't,
absolutely
and you say,
mental illness.
Whoa, hey, I'm not the person you should be asking.
They're asking me for, you know, political advice. They're asking me for all this stuff. And at the end of the day, I need to just be like, here's some information, or here's a means to obtaining information, and whatever you do, just educate yourself.
Okay.
You know, because I know that it would be even more irresponsible for me to speak on something I'm not qualified to speak on. But like I said, my main objective is just have an opinion. Whatever it is, just have one. Just care. We are in a generation of apathy. Like, we're coming out of one, because the young people I see are so galvanized and inspired, and they're tenacious, and I love everything about it. But, you know, we live in a world that's super oversaturated with information. So I just always remind my fans, like, whatever you do, just educate yourself and just have an opinion. Don't get overwhelmed and just think it's too much to read or it's too much to know. I just don't care. It's important to care. So, like, that's my goal, you know?
I'm getting the universal, it's time to go, Booker.
Sorry.
No.
I told you I won't shut up.
It's okay. I won't either. I'll keep you here all day. I like the sign the second and the third time myself, because I feel like the first one's a warm-up. Like,
yeah, it's a
we're
warning.
just warming up for it. Listen, I think it's great that you keep showing up here. And I honestly, I mean this. I really mean this. I've done this for a long time, and you see a lot of people come through, and there's usually a point when people say, I'm done.
I'm too famous to come do an interview.
Thank you. I'm at that level.
Nah.
I'm Big Miss Something Pants. You are Miss Big Something Pants, but you're still here. It means a lot. I think it's great that you share the way that you do, and I think you're doing a lot for a lot of people, a lot of young ladies as well. So
Thank you.
Keep doing you, boo. I love you. And it's Halsey.
I appreciate you guys too, because at the end of the day, you guys are giving a platform, and people need to hear things. So Thank you for including me in that platform.
There you go. Halsey with Amp Radio.
Woo!